Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you very much for attending. Today we will continue with the second chapter of Canto 1. So before that, we can see that we will have a recap of the chapter 1. In chapter 1, we have studied that the prelude to Srimad Bhagavatam. In chapter 1, basically the question by the sages. So the sages at Naimasaranya, actually Srimad Bhagavatam is a conversation between Sukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, and it is repeated again by Sutta Goswami to sages at Naimasaranya. So in chapter 1, basically the question asked by the or inquiry by the sages at Naimasaranya, headed by Sonaka Rishi to great Sutta Goswami. So in the first chapter, we have a fourth theme. We have gone through this. First is prelude to Srimad Bhagavatam, which is to understand the absolute truth. Who is absolute truth? What is the glories and characteristics? What is the characteristic of absolute truth? Then the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the first three verses is very important. Here we can see here a description of the absolute truth and characteristic of also absolute truth. Then it establishes the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, also characteristic of Bhagavatam. Then there is a setting scene. In setting scene that this Naimasaranya, the sages of Naimasaranya assembled, and they have received the Sutta Goswami, and they offer the seat of Vyasasana. Then qualification of Sutta Goswami. Sutta Goswami is well versed, very well versed and free from all the vices, and he has also gone through the proper guidance. That means he is coming from the disciplic succession. Therefore, he is fit for speaking the authoritative scripture like Srimad Bhagavatam. And the question by the sages understanding understanding the pitfall of this age of Kali, the darkness of the age of Kali. So they wanted to ask the important question for the benefit, for the larger benefit of all the people in the age of Kali, so that they can know the answers and get the benefit, get out from this, get the respite from this contaminating influence of age of Kali. So therefore, they asked 6 questions. What is the absolute and ultimate good for people in general? What is the essence of all scriptures? Why the personality of God had appeared in the womb of Devaki? Then Purusha Avatara, the Lord is, what is the activities Lord perform in relation to creation of material world, like Purusha Avatara, 3 Purusha Avatara. And also the transcendental pastime of all incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Then finally they ask, where has religion taken shelter after Krishna has departed to his own abode? So this is all about the constitution of chapter 1 of Canto 1, predominantly the 6th question. In chapter 2, we have like Sutta Goswami now already sitting in the Vyasasana. And once Sutta Goswami is hearing, after hearing this question by the sages, now he is prepared. He is thanking first of all to all the sages, because the questions are so tremendously beneficial, because it is the larger interest of the people, particularly in this abominable age of Kali. So therefore, he first of all thanked to all the sages, because the questions are very beneficial. So he thanked to all the sages. After thanking sages, then he started offering obeisances to Sukadev Goswami. Offer obeisances to Sukadev Goswami. Offers obeisances to Sukadev Goswami and invocation prayers before speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, just like we do that. We do in our classes, morning classes. So the invocation prayer. Then after that, these first two questions are answered. What is the ultimate good of the people? And what is the essence of all scriptures? That is bhakti. Answer is bhakti. That has been very elaborately answered in this very important chapter. Actually, this chapter is very important. Prabhupada very extensively spoke on this chapter, the verses from this chapter. And the third and fourth question also answered in this chapter. Purpose of Krishna's appearance from the womb of Devaki and Purusha Avatara. Purusha Avatara means Lord has incarnated to create the material world as a Mahavishnu, Karanadakasaya Vishnu or Mahavishnu, Garbhadakasaya Vishnu and Kirodakasaya Vishnu. So this has been answered also. So let us start with this, the first theme, which is Sutta Goswami obeisances, offering obeisance to Sukadev Goswami, invocation of prayer. So this first thing is that whenever you are, whenever somebody is speaking on this particular subject matter of Vedic literature, he should acknowledge this spiritual master. Because without spiritual master, there is no spiritual life, there is no spiritual instruction. So we learn everything from the spiritual master. So this is a gratitude, showing our gratitude and acknowledgement by offering respectable protested obeisances to our spiritual master. So Sutta Goswami, who was also heard this Srimad Bhagavatam when it was spoken by Sukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, he was also present and he heard this postgraduate curriculum on science of God at Srimad Bhagavatam at that time. So now he is repeating the same thing, whatever he has heard. That is called disciplic succession. You repeat whatever the Krishna, whatever your spiritual master says. So he is starting this. So his Sutta Goswami is, after thanking the sages for the perfect question, he offered obeisance to spiritual master. He told that, let me offer my respectful obeisance unto that great sage Sukadev Goswami, who can enter the heart of all. When he went away to take up the renounced order of life, sannyas, leaving home without undergoing reformation by sacred thread or the ceremonies observed by the higher caste, his father Vasudev feared separation from him, cried out, "Oh my son, indeed only the trees which were absorbed in the same feeling of separation," echoed in response to the grieved father. So what happened when Sukadev Goswami, he was in the womb of the mother, he does not want to come back from the mother's womb. But Vasudev called Krishna to ensure or assure there will be no Maya affect him. On that assurance and insurance, Sukadev Goswami came out. 17 years, 16 years. So when he came out, he immediately left the house and went away, walking. He did not even turn back to his father Vasudev. He just went away. So, but Vasudev, in separation of his son, so he was also chasing or following after him. And there was a good story of that. It is explained in the 5th chapter, later chapter, but let me brief it. At that time, there was so many ladies, they were taking bath without any dress. And that time when they saw that Sukadev Goswami was passing, they did not even bother about that. There is no concern. They are not concerned. But when Vasudev is following, they immediately very cautious and cover their body. So Vasudev is asking, I'm an old man, and but my son is very young. And why did you have these attitudes for me? Then he told, because you are attached, family man. You are attached. But your son, Sukadev Goswami, is not attached, he's detached. So much detached, he do not about what is going on around. Therefore, in this way, we can see the exalted position of Sukadev Goswami. Here, Sutta Goswami is saying that how he is from the birth only he renounced, he left. And after that, Sukadev Goswami is actually offering respectful obeisances to all the sages who, out of his great compassion, for those gross materialistic who struggle to cross over the darkness region of material existence, spoke this confidential supplement to the ocean of Vedic knowledge, cream of Vedic knowledge, and after having personally assimilated by experience. That means after that is the system, that guru sister system. After you assimilate this knowledge from your spiritual master, one has to speak. If one is not speaking, then it is not a proper preservation of the knowledge. Yesterday I was telling that chapter 4 Parampara system in Bhagavad Gita. This knowledge has to be preserved only by propagation, otherwise not. And that propagation has to be very bona fide as it is, not that you manipulate it. When it is manipulated or misinterpreted, it is lost. Sakalena Joganasta Parantap. So in this way, Sukadev Goswami, Sutta Goswami is offering his prayer. Why? Because spiritual master is very, because this is an exalted contribution for the society. Just like Prabhupada is very, outstanding contribution to the society Prabhupada made. He made all this Vedic literature, translated it into English with transliteration, synonyms, purport, everything. And he preached very extensively, vigorously in the Western world. Because Western world is a leader. America is the leader of all nations. And he knows that, according to Bhagavad Gita, yadat acharati shrestha. The general people, they follow the leaders. Tattadeva anuvartate. So if Prabhupada thought that if I make this American as a Krishna consciousness, then all other country will automatically follow. And it is so happened that, of course, it was the order of his spiritual master, so he has carried out that order. And it is so happened that Indians, when Prabhupada was in India, nobody was taking up this Krishna consciousness. But when he went to America, United States of America, and met devotees, and by seeing this one, because Indians are follower of Western country, and Indians also, they follow the Krishna consciousness. So therefore, this contribution of society is very good, because Prabhupada presented very pure and pristine Srimad Bhagavatam to the society. So therefore, this spiritual masters is very important. One should offer very utmost respect to the spiritual master. Utmost. Krishna say also that my devotees, there are beautiful verses, that I manifested in two forms. This is beautiful verses, that why a spiritual master should be considered is very important, as good as God actually. Sakyadharitrena samasta satri. Krishna is saying here, oh my Lord, the transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as an acharya. So Krishna appear externally as an acharya and internally as a super soul to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. We do not know actually. We have no idea. We are in a conditioning state. We are ignorant. So the acharyas has been sent by the Krishna, their representative of Krishna, their external feature of Krishna. They come down to show us the path or direct us how to come to Krishna. Therefore, they are very exalted. So this is incumbent, imperative for the disciple to acknowledge this contribution and offer obeisances before he starts to speak anything. Therefore, it is very, this position of the Guru's spiritual master is very exalted. Then it is stated in another verses, Krishna spoke to Uddhava, Acharya ma bijaniyan navamanyata karchit na martya buddhayushute martya buddhayushvate sarva deva maya guru. One should know the Acharya as myself, never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him in an ordinary mind, for he is the representative of all demigods. So this is the thing, how they are Sakyadharitena Samasta Satre. They are so much exalted. Therefore, it is stated that one should offer very utmost respect. Mahattam
Mahattam Bahumanena Dinanam Anukampaya. So here it is stated that the pure devotee should execute devotional service by giving greatest respect to the spiritual master, the Acharya. He should be compassionate to the poor, make friendship with persons who are his equal, but all his activities should be executed under the regulation control of the senses. So very important verses that one must give utmost respect. So here Sutta Goswami is in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, speaking Bhagavatam, repeating these things. He is offering obeisances to Sutta Goswami, sorry, Shukadev Goswami, the original speaker. So then after his doing that, then there is an invocation of prayer. Invocation prayers. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, we do that. Narayana namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam toto jayam udirayat. So we speak this one. This is an invocation prayer. So Sutta Goswami offer obeisance unto the Narayana personality of Godhead, Naranarayan Rusidime, and Mother Saraswati Sila Vyasadeva. Because all the Vedic literature, Puranas are meant to, here it Prabhupada very nicely writing. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the personality of God and Narayana, unto Naranarayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Sila Vyasadeva, the author. I have given one class on this particular subject matter. So 1 to 4. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very means of conquest. What is the meaning of conquest? Conquest means this Srimad Bhagavatam, this Vedic literature, this Puranas are meant for conquest, means conquering the darkness region of material existence. It is conquering the Maya. Because living being, we are now in a conditioning state. We are forgetfulness of a relationship with God. Because we are overly attached to sense gratification from time immemorial. We are struggling for existence perpetually, and it is not possible for us to get out from that. Therefore, this Srimad Bhagavatam, to give us light, this Srimad Bhagavatam is actually means for conquering the darkness of the age. It is stated also in these beautiful verses I showed you last class, that this is that where the religion has taken shelter after Krishna left. Krishna Sodhamopagate Dharma Jnana Adivisa Kalu Nasta Dristamesam Purana Kadhunodita. This Bhagavad Purana is as brilliant as the sun. It has risen just after the departure of the Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by the religion knowledge. Person who have lost their vision due to dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. So that is the meaning of means of conquest, to conquering the darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali. So this Bhagavatam has appeared as a brilliant sun to dissipate that darkness. So therefore it is, Prabhupada is very beautifully translated, it is a means of conquest. It is like a, what is that called? Tamadidevanam Tamalabannam Krishnavataram. Apara Sansara Setu, Apara Sansara Samudra Setu, Apara Sansara. The Sansara is very unfathomable ocean, and this is a breeze, Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, it is called conquest. So in this way, it is the invocation of prayer by Sutta Goswami before reciting. Then in next verses, very nice. Munaya sadhu prishtaham bhavadbhi lokamangalam. See, yat krita Krishna samarspana yatnyatma suprasidati. Oh sages, I have been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to the Lord Krishna, and so are the relevance to the world's welfare. Only question of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self. That is very important. Any questions, any discussion, any conversion where Krishna is the pivot, Krishna is the central theme, central point, that is worth of hearing. Otherwise, what is this? Otherwise, all this our conversation is bayasam tirtham. This is the pilgrimage of crow. Crows are very much interested for the filthy places. It is stated in these beautiful verses. This beautiful verses is stated that. So Nayad Bachaschitrapadam Hare Jasa Jagat Pabritam Pragnita Karchi Tadvayasam Tirtham Uschanti Manasa Netra Hansa Nirmanti Ushikkhaya. So here it is said that the word which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by a saintly person to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Because crows always go to filthy places. Anything which is not related to Krishna is like a garbage talk. Is an ideal to Gramya Katha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say, Gramya Katha na sunibe, Gramya Katha na kahibe. You should not hear Gramya Katha. Anything which is not related to Krishna. Since the all perfect person are inhabitant of transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure. Yanatma Suprasidhati. See, same beautiful, yes. Everything in Bhagavatam, every word is very meaningful. At so many different angles we can speak actually. Krishna Tulya Bhagavata. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Krishna Tulya Bhagavata. Prati Akhere Prati Sloke Nana Artha Kai. Every sloko, every word also is a different lot of meaning. Here it is a Yanatma Suprasidhati. Means it completely satisfying the self. In these verses also say that the transcendental, since the all perfect person are inhabitant of transcendental level, they do not derive any pleasure. Devotees, they do not derive any pleasure because there is no Krishna Katha. So in the next verses, it is stated that the beautiful verses, Tadbag Visarga Janartha Viplava Jasmin Pratisakam Avadhapati Api Namani Anantasya Jasaning Aniktani Ankitani yat srinvanti gayanti grinanti sadavaha. On the other hand, that intelligence, that literature which is full of description of the transcendental glories of the name, form, fame, form, pastime of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation full of transcendental word direct toward bringing about the revolution in the impious lives of the world misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literature, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. So why these people are not coming and hearing Bhagavatam? Because they are interested in garbage. Unless you are interested in garbage, we cannot like it. Because Bhagavatam is for those who are swan people. Bhagavatam, those who are hearing Bhagavatam, those who develop a taste for Bhagavatam, they are not the crow type of category. Here it is stated they are swan, because swan is always associated with clear water. They do not like garbage. But those who are not interested in Bhagavatam, that means they are still need to be purified. There is so much contamination, dirty thing in the heart. Therefore, Bhagavatam, he says that you come and hear this literature and all your dirty things will be cleansed. Then you will start develop your taste for hearing Bhagavatam. It's clearly stated in these verses. Then another verses also it is stated that this Bhagavatam is actually, see these beautiful verses. It is stated that word that do not describe the transcendental personality of Godhead, but instead deal with temporary matters are simply false and useless. Only those words that manifest the transcendental quality of Supreme Lord are actually truthful, auspicious, and pious. Everybody wants auspiciousness. Everybody wants to know truth. Everybody wants to become pious. But they do not know the proper way of doing that. Narad Muni say that Tadinam Nadinam, that particular day is not auspicious, is not inauspicious if it is a raining. But that day is inauspicious if we are not hearing Krishna Katha. Tadinam Durdinam Megachanam Yaddinam Durdinam Krishna Samalapa na Gayate. Where there is no Krishna Katha, that means that day is inauspicious day. That is the inauspicious day. Therefore, it is a advice that everybody must hear this Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. That the only process of not only clear our sins, cleanse our dirty things, but to attain the Supreme Lord. In this particular chapter, during the last, the solution is given that a conditioned soul who is entrapped and contaminated in the material nature, how to cleanse the contamination and eventually go back to Godhead. That is the process has been given here by bhakti, but bhakti starts with hearing process, hearing and glorifying the activities of the Lord. So therefore here Sutta Goswami is thanking all these sages. That very nice question, because these questions are related to Krishna. Therefore, this is very nice question. So here the Sutta Goswami acknowledged the exalted nature of inquiry of sages. Because in Bhagavad Gita it is said that Vedaischa aham eva vedya. All the Vedic literature meant to understand Krishna. So any things which is related to Krishna, it is it is the perfection. It is the ultimate inquiry, ultimate purpose of hearing, ultimate purpose of glorifying or speaking. The personality of Godhead says that in all the Vedas there is nothing but the odds for searching after him. Lord Krishna thus the question that pertain to Krishna are the sum and substance of all Vedic inquiries. Our inquiry should be about Krishna, not that how much the stock market, today's stock market, today's current news, today's what is they called what is the stock market, or what is the current news, trending news, breaking news. This is not the inquiry. What is breaking news? What's the trending news? How the job market, how the stock market, how the movie market, how the sports news, movie news. These are the useless. That is meant for the crows class of people, not the exalted class of people, swan class of people. Everything should be learned from Bhagavatam. It's so beautiful. So here it is. After that, the first two questions are answered. The first two questions is what is the ultimate good of the people and what is the essence of all scriptures. That has been questioned in this beautiful verses, very, very important verses. Prabhupada has quoted these verses many, many times. I think highest time, I think. Savai punsam paro dharma jato bhakti rodhokya aituki apratihata yadatma suprasidate. So savai punsam paro dharma. What is the paro dharma? Means supreme occupation. Prabhupada knowingly used this translation. Dharma means occupation. The root meaning of what dharma is, which sustains one existence. That is dharma. What is the living being sustenance of existence is to coordinate his activities with his eternal relationship with Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. That is dharma. Dharma means abide by the law of God. Or dharma means activities in relationship with God. Because we are part and parcel of the Krishna. So our constitutional position as a Jivera Swarupa Nitya Krishnera Dasa. We are eternally the subservient part and parcel of the Lord. Servant of the Lord. Just like a finger is servant of the body. Finger duty has to serve the whole body. Therefore, dharma means our occupation, because finger has no existence. Finger has no existence without serving. No sustenance of existence. What is the use of finger if it is not whole body? It should be amputated. Whole idea of the finger, whole sustenance of the existence of the finger is to serve the body. If he is not serving body, he is in disease condition. So we are also our dharma to serve the Lord. When we are not serving in a conditioning state, while in material existence, we are in a very diseased condition of life. We are diseased. Just like a finger is broken or diseased, it cannot serve the body. Similarly, we are also diseased condition. So here it is said that Savai Punsam Paro Dharma. What is the supreme occupation? Jato Bhakti Radhokya means the Bhakti. The Bhakti is the most important thing. So here it is say that the Vedas prescribe the two kind of occupation. Dharma is occupations. Two kind of occupation. One is pravriti maga, nibriti maga. What is the pravriti maga? Pravriti maga means enjoyment. People are after enjoyment. Nibriti maga means renounce that enjoyment, spiritual advancement, Krishna consciousness. So most of the people, they are in pravriti maga, sense enjoyment. What will happen the sense, particularly those who are animals and demons, they are not category of pravriti maga and nibriti maga, because for them they do not care for anything, only sense gratification. They have no regulation. Pravriti maga means you enjoy, because everybody has a tendency of enjoyment, so you enjoy, but regulate your enjoyment. Kamasmin dharma viruddha. You want to have a sex, but get married. All these things called pravriti maga. So the sense enjoyment under the regulations. But that is also not good. That is not also perfection. Therefore, Vedic prescribed that you should follow this nibriti maga, which is called negation of the sense enjoyment and acceptance of the devotional service. Savai punsam paro dharma jato bhakti rodokyaja means spiritual advancement. Therefore, Shastra says that prabhuti es bhutanam nibhati tu mahaphala. Everyone in material life is attached to furthering the way of attachment. But the greatest treasure to be gained by following the path of detachment, that is called nibriti maga. So there are so many verses in that. Let me show some verses in this in this regard, actually. No, this is not 47. So in this verse, the two this is very important. Prabhutim cha nivritim cha dividham karma vaidikam. See here it is very nicely stated. According to the Veda, there are two kind of activity: pravriti and nibriti. Pravriti activity involve raising oneself from lower to higher condition of materialistic life, whereas nibriti means cessation of material desire. Though pravriti activity one suffer from material entanglement, but by nibriti activity one is purified, become fit to enjoy eternal blissful life. That is two kind of thing. One is sense enjoyment, but by regulation. In this way, we can go to heavenly planet and we'll have a very deluxe edition of sense enjoyment, like, Indra, Chandra, they are experiencing. They are experiencing. But still, it is not liberation. We have to come back after we exhaust these pious activities. So this is not the good, actually. It is still makes us bondage. It will not release us from the material entanglement. But whereas nibriti maga is Krishna consciousness, and this will free us. Therefore, it is stated in this verse, our occupation must be savai punsam paro dharma jato bhakti radokyacha. That nibriti maga must be there. Because this path of enjoyment is inferior. It will not release it. It will not give us, free from this bondage. It is Jivabhutta platform, not the Brahmabhutta platform. But on the other end, Nibriti Maga is Brahmabhutta platform. It will give us pleasure, bliss, everything, knowledge. And whole idea of this, whole idea of our thing that this is very important. It is stated here that this Prabhuti Maga also, somebody may ask why then Veda has prescribed that activity. He would have prescribed only Nibriti Maga. Why the Veda prescribed that you go for Prabhuti Maga also? In the material world, the conditioned soul is always inclined to sex, meat eating, intoxication. Therefore, religious scriptures never actually encourage such activities. Although the spiritual injunction provide for sex through sacred marriage, for meat eating through sacrificial offering, for intoxication through the acceptance of ritual cup of wine, such ceremonies are meant for ultimate purpose of renunciation. So all this Prabhuti Maga Veda introduced for the people are low class people, those who cannot control the senses. For them, this has been introduced so that ultimately they can come to Nibriti Maga. Ultimately they will renounce it. That is whole purpose of this Vedas. Therefore, it is said that the best occupation is that Savai Punsam Paro Dharma Jato Bhaktir Adokyacha. See, the statement of scripture promising fruitive reward do not prescribe the ultimate good for men, but are merely enticement for executing beneficial religious duty, like promise of candy spoken to induce a child to take beneficial medicine. Sometimes child is not interested to take medicine, so you say that if you take medicine, I will give you a gulab jamun, I will give you chocolate, I will give you pizza. So similarly, this Prabhuti Maga is introduced only to induce them to come to the Nibriti Maga ultimately. So one should therefore accept the superior quality of occupation, that is called Savai Punsam Poro Dharma Joto Bhakti. And bhakti also, there are different kind of bhakti. Bhakti is two type of. One is mixing with material motivation, and one is pure bhakti. One is mixing with that bhakti is polluted for material gain, just like Durva Maharaj. Durva Maharaj initially he went for gaining some material gain, to have a kingdom bigger than even Brahmaji. He did bhakti, underwent austerity and all, but he was having that intention of material gain. Of course, after seeing the Lord, he changed his attitudes, he changed his mentality. That is stated in 22:42, Madhya. But this material gain, devotional service for material gain, is not a pure devotion service. Therefore, it is said that ahituki apratiyata. The devotional service should be free from all kind of ahituki, causeless, no material gain. No material gain, no any other knowledge, no karma jnana, free from karma and jnana. Apratiyata means uninterrupted. It should not be break. Uninterrupted. It should not be checked by any material condition. Oh, today I am not well, I do not do bhakti, I do not chant. Today I have some problem in the family, I have some setback, I will not. No. Apratiyata means under all circumstances, it should be executed. That is called pure bhakti. It is stated by the Rupa Goswami why we are called Rupanuga, because Rupa Goswami has contributed a great things in our society, in Hare Krishna movement, in our Sampradaya. What is the great thing? He spoke about what is called real bhakti. He has given this beautiful Anna Vilasita Sunyam Jnana Karmadi Anarvatam Anukulyena Krishnanusilanam Bhakti Ruttama. Without understanding what is pure bhakti, first class bhakti, how can we execute? Therefore, every Vaishnavas are indebted to Rupa Goswami. Therefore, we are called Rupanuga. When first class devotional service developed, one must be devoid of all material desire, knowledge obtained by monastic philosophy, fruitive action. The devotee must constantly serve Krishna favorably as Krishna desire. Anukulyena Krishnanusilanam. As Krishna favorably, not like Kansa, unfavorably. Favorably, and free from karma and jnana. No more karma. Karma yoga means there is a mixed devotional service. Devotional service overcoated with karma. Karma is overcoated with devotional service is called karma yoga. Jnana is overcoated with bhakti is called jnana yoga. So these are overcoated. They are not unalloyed, not pure, not pristine. Therefore, here it is advised by the Sutta Goswami, Savai Punsam Poro Dharma Jato Bhakti Radhakasa. This is the pure devotional service. Every Vaishnava every devotee should aim and aspire for it and execute it. That is the dharma. That is the first question is answered here. First question of the suggest is answered this one. And it is also the second question answer also almost the same thing actually. Essence of all scripture means to execute bhakti, that is unalloyed bhakti, free from karma and jnana, uninterrupted and causeless, unmotivated. That is also essence of all scripture. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prajita Janati Asubairagam Jnana Yat Ahitukam. If we executed above bhakti, pure bhakti, what will happen? Immediately the jnana and vairagya will come. See, these two verses is very, very important. So devotional service should not be taken. If someone is engaged in such a service, automatically attain the detachment and knowledge. So devotional service should not be like a sentimental provocations or emotional affair. No, it is not an emotional affair or sentimental provocation. If somebody is not following according to Shastra, Krishnanusilanam, Krishna, what Krishna desire, according to Krishna desire, if one is not executing devotional service according to Shastra, then it is disturbances. Many devotees, they do not follow Shastra, by sentiment they go. So it is rejected here. The principle of knowledge detachment are two important factors of the path of transcendental realization. This is the test actually. Unless we become detached from the bhakti, means we must be detached from the material things. And knowledge also will come. So this is the most important thing. And it is very, these two things are the taste of our bhakti. Bhakti must followed by the detachment and knowledge. It is stated in these beautiful verses that bhakti paresanubhava viraktiranyatha. In these verses, it is said that bhakti paresanubhava viraktiranyatha. Devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things. These three things occur simultaneously who has taken shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the same way, pleasure, nourishment, relief from hunger comes simultaneously and increasingly with each bite for a person engaged in eating. Supposing I'm eating means I will get the pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger. Similarly, when there is a bhakti, means the detachment will come. Without detachment and knowledge, there is no question of bhakti. That is the taste of bhakti. So it is stated that this is the taste of bhakti, that one has to develop the bhakti, detachment and jnana, the knowledge. Otherwise, it's a sentimental provocation, simply a sentimental provocation. So the next verses, Sutta Goswami is telling that dharma sanustita punsam visvaksana katha no utpadate jadi ratim sarma ebhoi kevalam. It is stated that goal of all dharma or occupation, first of all, is stated that what is our supreme dharma, and when we execute supreme dharma, we will get the knowledge and detachment. Then what is the goal of all dharma? The goal of all dharma to create the attraction of the message of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, which is a useless labor. Supposing I am doing my any activities, if activities do not provoke the message of the God, do not make me to attract towards the message of the Lord, then that activity is sarma ebhoi kevalam, useless labor. Everybody is working some sort of things. Somebody is engineer, doctor, everybody is acting, somebody businessman. But that occupation is useless labor unless that occupation attract the message of the God. Therefore, we have to engage ourselves in occupational engagement that will evoke our divine consciousness. Unless it evokes the divine consciousness, so we should not, and that is sarma ebhai kevalam. And occupational duty should not be performed for material gain, for utilized for sense gratification. No, occupational duty should not. It is strictly said that it should not be engaged. Occupational duty should not be for the material gain. Many people goes to office to get some material gain and they enjoy life. That should not be the Bhagavatam rejected that. Then what to do? Here Bhagavatam says that kamasya nendriya priti lava jive java jivasya tattva jigyasa. Life desire or should never be directed towards sense gratification. It is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. This is the life desire. The aim of the life to inquiry, athata brahma jigyasa, jivasya tattva jigyasa. Therefore, one should not live for sense gratification. One should satisfy as much as required, self-preservation, basic necessity. And rest of the time, one must invest in inquiring about absolute truth. That is the aim of this occupational activity. But now in the modern age, we have different. Most of the time we are engaging in for sense gratification, and then and there we go to temple, we are thinking of God, particularly when we are in problem. Just like one disciple asked to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, sometimes we are in Maya. Prabhupada said, no, no. Every time you are in Maya, sometimes you are in Krishna consciousness. So this is our problem. So this is the process of realizing the absolute truth. That first of all, you have to have bhakti is very important. That up to pure bhakti, no contaminated bhakti. Second thing is that by bhakti, you must gain the knowledge and detachment. Third thing is that all your occupational duties must evoke the message of Krishna consciousness, divine consciousness. Otherwise, it is useless labor. And the fourth one is that we should utilize your occupational duty not to gain some material gain, but to inquiry about the absolute truth, about God, because that is our ultimate goal of life. So that is called what is absolute truth, and the process of what is the ultimate good, and process of realizing the absolute truth. Then this next one is called what is absolute truth. Absolute truth, it is said that Badanti tattva vidya tattvam yad ganam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti sabdyate. So this Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, is three features, three aspects. One is Brahma, Brahmajyoti, Brahmeti, Paramatma, Bhagavana. Brahmajyoti is the effulgence, bodily effulgence of the Lord. Paramatma is the localized form, and Bhagavan is ultimate supreme form, Sachidananda Vigraha. Those who are not so much advanced, they understand, their understanding is all about limited to Brahmajyoti. Those who are little advanced, they are called, they are after this super soul or partial understanding as a Paramatma. And those who are advanced in Krishna consciousness, devotee, they realize or they understand this final or perfect understanding that Lord is Sachidananda Vigraha, Supreme Personal. So in this way, this is the absolute truth. Then it is stated that the process of realizing the absolute truth. What is the process of realizing the absolute truth? So process of absolute is very, very important verses. Prabhupada always quoted. Tasradadhanamune jnana vairagya jute paschanti atmani cha atmanam bhaktya sutta gritaya. So it's not easy. First of all, we know that absolute, what is absolute truth? It has three features, but devotees should always go for the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan. Other two feature is partial. So main most important feature is that Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is Prabhupada has written that the Brahman, Prabhupada has written that this Bhagavana by devotees. So the same substance is realized as impersonal Brahman by student of Upanishad, localized by yogis, but Bhagavana by devotees. In other words, the personality of God, it is the last word of absolute truth. Because Paramatma is partial representation of personality of Godhead. Impersonal Brahman also partial representation. Therefore, this devotee always go for Bhagavan, Supreme Lord. But what is the process of realizing absolute truth? That Supreme Bhagavan. Here it is very nicely said. Tas radadana punya jnana vairagya juktaya. The seriously inquisitive students or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realize the absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of which he has heard from Vedanta Sutri. That is very, very important for all the devotees in Krishna consciousness. Why? Because Bhakti is based on the foreground of knowledge and combined with detachment. Bhakti is not sentiment. Prabhu, I am also putting tilak. I am also putting kantimala. I am also marking my forehead with tilak. I am also chanting. No. The bhakti must be based on the foreground of knowledge combined with detachment, and which is fixed by the hearing process. Without hearing, where you can get this knowledge? Without knowledge, how to detach? They have no understanding that why I should read Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is complicated. Actually, it is complicated. It is not that so easy actually. This second chapter, if I have given one class is 2 hours only. One was 2 hours previously. So it is complicated. But one should hear it. Without hearing it, 2 times, 3 times hearing, then we can clear our understanding. It is very important. Therefore, it is particularly say that sadadana munaya jnana vairagya jute paschanti atmani cha atman bhaktya sutta, means hearing process only. By hearing process, they have fixed up with knowledge and detachment. Bhakti cannot be sentimental. No, I am also Krishna consciousness. I am going to Sunday program. I am also attending temple. No. First of all, are you hearing it? After hearing it, are you detached? Are you getting the knowledge? After getting knowledge, are you detached? So bhakti should be based on the foreground of detachment and knowledge. Otherwise, it is sentimental. Devotional service is followed by knowledge and detachment from the material association. That is the important thing. Otherwise, it's a devotional service which is based on the foreground of full knowledge combined with detachment from material association, which is fixed by oral reception of Vedanta Sutra, is only perfect method by which seriously inquisitive student can realize the absolute truth. That is only the perfect method. All other things are imperfect method. Like understanding even Brahman or Paramatma, that also imperfect means of realizing. But perfect means devotional service. Also, that devotional service should not be neophyte mentality. Simply worshipping deity, but no knowledge, no detachment, no hearing, no glorifying. This is not the perfect way of absolute truth also understanding. So therefore, Prabhupada in the purport written, there are 3 kinds of devotee. First class, second class, third class. Third class devotee or neophyte who have no knowledge and not detached from material association. Without knowledge, how can I detach? I must know that this is bad. Then only I can renounce that. I can detach from that bad thing. So knowledge is first thing in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada said that. But who are simply attracted by preliminary process of worshipping the deity in the temple are called material devotee. Material devotee are more attached to material benefit than transcendental profit. They are attached to material benefit, not transcendental profit. Therefore, one is to make definite progress from position of material devotional service to second-class devotional position. In the second-class position, the devotee can see 4 principles. Devotional line, namely personality of God and his devotee, ignorant and envious. One is to raise himself at least to stage of second-class devotee, thus become eligible to know absolute truth. One cannot understand or realize the absolute truth without come to second-class platform. Without knowledge and detachment, there is no question of that. Putting tilak, kantimala is not sufficient to understand and realize absolute truth. Border dhoti, colorful kurta, gorgeous cotton sari, these are not the meant to realize absolute truth. One must have knowledge and detachment. Means you have to hear it, constant hearing. Constant hearing is very important. Therefore, in the next verses, it is say that in this regard also, there is a beautiful Rupa Goswami says that Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatrika Vidim Bina Aikantika Harer Bhakti Utpay Deva Kalpate. If we are not referring to Shruti Smriti, we are executing devotional service according to our whim, which we like it. Whatever I like, I do the same thing. Whatever I do not like, I reject. That is not bhakti. Bhakti means Krishnanusilanam. It should be according to desire of Krishna, means according to instruction of Shruti Smriti. Otherwise, it is created disturbance in the society. There's fighting, neophyte fights. Why the neophyte fight in the center organization? Hare Krishna, because they do not hear it. They do not hear, therefore they do not develop the knowledge. When they do not develop the knowledge, they do not develop the detachment. Detachment from matter. So therefore, all the fighting happens. Therefore, a sincere student must therefore be prepared to hear Vedic literature like Upanishad, Vedanta, other literature led by previous authority of Goswami for the benefit of his progress. Spiritual progress means hearing from Shastra, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary of Vedanta Sutra. It is the sonam vanam of spiritual progress. It is the content and crux of all the Vedic scripture, that is Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna also say in Bhagavad Gita that Brahma Sutra, he is referring Brahma Sutra. I also referring from Brahma Sutra. He is referring Brahma Sutra. He is not just speaking. He himself God. He can speak anything that constitute Vedanta, Veda, but he is still referring for this to set an example that we must refer Shastra. We must hear Shastra. He is referring in 13.5, Vedanta Sutra, Brahma Sutra Padeshchaiva, Hetu Navir Vinishchacha. So in the path of devotional service, we must guided by the Shastra. That is the injunction by Rupa Goswami and Bhagavatam. So Ato Pumbir Dijosreshta. Then it is said that Ato Pumbir Dijosreshta Varnasrami Bhagasa Sanustistasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritosanam. Highest aim of life, the highest perfection of institution of Varnasrama is to cooperate jointly for satisfaction of the Lord. Whole idea of the system institution, Varnasrama institution, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, Brahmachari, Vanapasta, Brahmachari, Grasta, Vanaprastha, Sannyas is to Samsiddhi Haritosanam, to please satisfy the Lord. Satisfy the Lord. So then he is telling that, therefore, Tasmad ekena manasa bhagavan satvastampati sroteva kititebhacha dhaya pujyasya nitya. Therefore, it is concluded that if realization of the absolute truth is ultimate aim of life, it must be carried out by glorifying, hearing, remembering, and worshipping the Supreme Lord activities name form. That is the ultimate process of realizing absolute truth. We have to hear, glorify, remember, worshipping. If we are not hearing, what is the question of realizing the absolute truth? No question of absolute. We will remain neophyte. We will stagnate our devotional service. 10 years I am in Krishna consciousness movement. 20 years I am Krishna consciousness. Sir, what is the value of 20 years if we are not hearing it? Krishna consciousness is not all about the prasadam extravaganza. Of course, prasadam is the basic practice of devotional service, fundamental practice of devotional service. But that is all, not all in all. We have to hear Krishna Katha, develop the knowledge and detachment. Because in modern society, everybody likes to hear. We have a tendency of hearing sports news, this news, that news, trending news, which is trending, what is breaking news. So that tendency should be diverted, directed to the hearing about Krishna's news, Vaikuntha news. There are so many, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati used to say that there are so many magazines, so many literatures, so many newspapers is churning out to just give this news of material world. What to speak about spiritual world, which is 3/4, 75%. Krishna say, Ekapada Bhubi, that is 3-pada Vibhuti. 3/4 is spiritual world. Ekamsena Sthita Jagata. This Jagata is Ekamsena, 25%. 75% is spiritual things. How much knowledge is there? But nobody is hearing, nobody is speaking. Therefore, things are very precarious, chaotic. So here it is stated that one must Tasmad ekena manaso, one pointed, one should hear Krishna Katha. There are so many verses I am noting down. When I will send it, you go through that. Because we have no time to cover all the things. But so many verses related, how important the hearing and glorifying about the Supreme Lord. One verses, let me show you. It is stated this beautiful 11th 327 that Sravanam Kirtanam Dhyanam Hare Adbhuta Karmana Janma Karma Gnanam Cha Tadarte Akhila Chestitam. So it is said that one should hear, glorify, meditate upon the wonderful transcendental activities of the Lord. One should specially become absorbed in the appearance, activity, quality, and holy name of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus inspired, one should perform all one's daily activities and offering to the Lord. So this is what stated in this way. Tasmad ekena manasa bhagavana satattam pati soteva kitite bacha dhayata pujya bacha nityada. with sword in hand, intelligent men caught through the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? Our problem that we have here in the material world due to our reactionary work, action and reaction. Every action has got equal and opposite reaction. So we are bound by the reaction of our action. Therefore, we are suffering in this material world. We cannot get out as long as we have a reaction. So this reactionary work can be caught by the process of hearing. By process of hearing. So this is the best method of nullify your karma to hearing about Krishna. Therefore, Krishna says, Manmana bhava mad bhakta mad jadi mam namaskuru. You think of me, you remember me, you hear about me, you glorify me. In this way, you can caught the knot of reactionary work. Then we will last verse we will speak and we will stop here. Sadadhanasya Vasudeva Katharisen Mahasevaya Vipra Punyatita Nivasa. Very important verses. Now we have learned that bhakti is the ultimate goal of life, ultimate goal as supreme occupational duty. Then we learned that this bhakti should be unmotivated, uninterrupted, pure bhakti, not motivated for material gain. Then we learned that bhakti must bring out the knowledge and detachment. Without knowledge and detachment, all bhakti, there is no bhakti. So therefore, our occupational duties or our dharmas, whatever the activities, must invoke the message of God. Otherwise, it is useless labor. Because whole idea is activities, our occupational activities, to get liberated, not for the material gains and sense gratification. Therefore, the solution is that tasmad ekena manasya, everybody should one-pointed hear Krishna Katha, glorify Krishna Katha, remember Krishna Katha. By remembering that, all our reaction, all our karmic reaction will be caught, will be nullified. And now it is said that how you can develop that hearing. I have no taste for hearing. Therefore, I am not coming. How many devotees joined today? Only 9. Why? Because people have no taste for this. Jaundice patient, just like Rupa Goswami say in Nectar of Instruction. A jaundice patient, he is not because if you give them the what is called sweet, it is bitter for them. So the holy name, character, pastime, and activities of Krishna are transcendentally sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by jaundice, avidya means ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet. That is the problem. The devotees, they are still afflicted by all the things. They have not cured. Proportionately, when they cure, they will start, releasing the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. It is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting the sweet names every day, natural release awakens within this tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. So, because we are conditioned stage, even though we have come to Krishna consciousness, the disease is still there. Just like we switch off the fan is still rotating. So disease is still, anartha is still there. So to completely clear this anartha from the root or at the root, one must hear the Krishna Katha. But those who are not hearing, they have no taste. They have not developed the taste. But they do not know, they cannot develop the taste. Otherwise, there is no other process. Only by hearing. Only by hearing they can do that. We have read so many verses. Whole process of realizing the absolute truth is hearing about Krishna Katha. By the process of hearing, we develop the knowledge. I am going to college and hearing from professor. I am gaining knowledge. When I am gaining knowledge, I am getting detached and subsequently attached to Krishna. That is the process. And to get that urge or inclination or propensity to hear Krishna Katha, we have to serve the devotees. Otherwise, we will not gain. That means those who are not sincere to his spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, because Prabhupada say that hearing is the main process. First thing in Krishna consciousness is hearing, knowledge, and knowledge comes from hearing. That means we are disobeying the spiritual master order. We are disobeying the spiritual master order. That means we are not doing the seva, Bani seva. When we are not engaged in the Bani seva of our spiritual master or great sages, we will not get this urge to hear. This is whole idea. See, everything is so scientifical. Here Prabhupada, here it is say that oh, twice one says, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vices, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva. These sages, they have come to reclaim the conditioned souls. And they have given some instruction how to come back to Krishna, how to go back to Godhead. If we are not following, that means we are not doing service to them. There are two kinds of service, Bapu Seva, Bani Seva. Bapu Seva means physically, sometimes physically, Prabhupada says, sometimes your guru or sages are not physically available. Then how to serve them? By Bani Seva. What is their Bani? You hear about Krishna Katha. Prabhupada himself said that, my Guru Maharaj saw me that I am hearing him. I am sitting down. I am not going. So that is only qualification he initiated me. Although I do not even understand it, what he is speaking. Even when he is speaking Bengali also, I do not understand. It was so profound. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is so like an encyclopedia. He's a Vaikuntha man. So much pedantic, professorial, so much knowledge. Prabhupada himself said, I do not understand. Still I am sitting hearing. And that is the qualification that my Guru Maharaj saw me, I am sitting, I am not going. He initiated me. Our is wearing the Bani Seva, where we are hearing, there is no, we have so much facility of hearing, but we are not hearing. Without hearing, then how to develop this knowledge and detachment? For that hearing, we must follow the instruction. Prabhupada said that hearing is the first thing. Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. Sravanam is the first thing in our devotional service, Navada Bhakti. So the hearing is not there means we will not develop law. That is called avidya, ignorance. Jaundice patient, ignorance. And only medicine is hearing. No other medicine. Sometimes you might think that I will otherwise develop the taste of hearing. No. They cannot develop. Unless they hear, they cannot develop, they cannot progress. They think that we will worship, we will do some charity, we will pay some money to temple, then we will progress in Krishna consciousness. No, no other method. Only method is that hearing process. Sinmatam Sokatha Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtana Udantastani Avadrani Vidunati Swasatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of a devotee who has developed the urge to hear his message, who are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. See, unless we hear, we cannot cleanse our contamination. We have come here to enjoy. We are in material existence means we are in a contaminated stage. We are in disease condition. To cure the disease means we have to hear. Lord is reciprocally responding to his devotee when he sees that a devotee is completely sincere in getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord and has thus become eager to hear about him. Lord acts from within the devotee in such a way that the devotee may easily go back to him. Lord is more anxious to take us back into his kingdom than we can desire. Lord is more anxious. So whenever he sees that a devotee is very much serious and he wanted to hear, he is developing an urge to hear about his activities, his pastime, about Gita and Bhagavatam, then he inspire within. He inspires within. Therefore, by serving the servant of the Lord, one gradually gets the quality of such servant. Thus, one becomes qualified to hear the glories of the Lord. And the eagerness to hear about God is the first qualification of devotional service. First qualification of devotees. See? First qualification of devotee is to eagerness to hear. We claim as a devotee is Vaishnava, so and so for big adjective, His grace, this grace, that grace. But where is this grace is here? First of all, have you developed the urge to hear about God? That is first qualification of devotee. That is called Bani Seva, instruction of spiritual master, instruction of sages. That is the service, Bani service. If we are not doing that Bani service, we are not urging, how Krishna will help us? Krishna will help us, those who help themselves. Helping themselves means we should hear. How Krishna will help us, help the devotees to progress? Unless we express, exhibit the eagerness to hear, sincerity to admittance into the Goloka Vrindavan or Vaikuntha. Therefore, the intention and intensity, I have written one article and they posted in Back to Godhead and it was published. So the intention and intensity of the bhakti. The intention is first thing. What is that intention means? The determination. The determination is very important. Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness is not difficult, but determination is difficult. I am determined, no, whatever is there, I am going to hear about Krishna Katha. That determination, I have to get up early in the morning, chant 16 rounds, hear Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Very simple, not so much complicated things given by Prabhupada. Very practical, we can do it. That determination has to be there. That intention has to be there. Sincerity of intention, sincerity of our determination must be there. Then only we can intensify. Because intensity is not there. There is no question of intensify. We cannot intense our bhakti without intention. The first thing, determination. Therefore, Prabhupada said that one verses made Prabhupada's life changes. That is 241. Ekaha kurunandana. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekaha kurunandana. Bhahu sakhai anantasa. Vyavasayatmika means one-pointed. What we have read. Tasmad ekena manas, one-pointed determination. Firm intention, firm faith. That I am going to hear. I am going to execute the order of spiritual master. That should be the first life and soul. That is called Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Resolute determination. If one is not resolute determination, devotees are what branches out. Oh, I will hear little bit of YouTube video. I will hear Facebook. I will chit chat sometimes. I will chit chat. That's going on. It's very diluted. Bhakti is diluted. Those who are not hearing, you take a note in your diary that they must be hearing Bollywood. They must be hearing Hollywood. They must be hearing sports. They must be hearing the movie. Because Shastra says that they are branches out. Different branches out. Prabhupada also in the purport, I think, is given that. They are branches out. They are not interested in hearing Krishna Katha. That means they still have a inclination, propensity for material things, material sound. Hearing about material sound. And which is so much condemned, so much condemned. Let me pause. Before pausing, I will show you some verses. If you do not hear, what will happen? It is stated in these beautiful verses that, oh my Lord, person who are bereft of all auspicious performance of chanting and hearing about your transcendental activity are certainly unfortunate, are also bereft of good sense. They engage in inauspicious activity, enjoying sense gratification for a very little while. Very little while. This is the problem, that we do not want to be interested in Krishna Katha, but we are interested in so-called other thing. It is a so vidvara ustrakhare samstuta purusa pasu. Men who are like dogs, hawks, camels, and asses praise those men who never listen to the transcendental pastime of Lord Krishna, the deliverer from all evils. The next verses is beautiful given. This one who has not listened to the message about the prowess, marvelous act of personality of Godhead, has not sung or chanted loudly the earthy songs about Lord is to be considered to possess ear holes like a holes of snakes, tongue like a tongue of frog. Tongue of frog is quack quack in rainy season, inviting snake to kill him, devour him. This is our thing. If we have not developed this, we are not hearing Krishna Katha, we are condemned by Shastra. So this hearing process is very, very important things. So we will, of course, we will stop here, we will pause here, we will continue in the next session because we have already covered today. Actually, we have covered actually the first theme and almost the second theme. Second theme is almost covered because we have few verses, important verses 18, 19, 20, 21. Because we're getting late, we have a temple program. So we can finish the, we can recap the second theme also and finish the second theme next session, which is very important. This 1 to 17, 16, 17, 18, all these verses from 1 to 6 to 1 to 29, all the verses are very, very important because it answers what is the ultimate good of people, essence of all scriptures, Vibhakti. Very summarize all the Vedic literature. Therefore, this theme is so important. Prabhupada very repeatedly quoted, frequently quoted, extensively quoted, elaborately quoted the second theme. 1 to 6 to 29. You can search actually. You will see that the highest quoted is, I think, Savai Bhagavatam Savai Punsam Parodharma. And third 4 questions are answered in the rest of the chapter. Only 4 verses only. Very briefly it is spoken why the Krishna, how the Krishna created all the material world with Purusha Avatara, and purpose of Krishna appearance for the womb of Devaki to revive our Krishna consciousness. Only 4 verses. Then in the next chapter, the details of his incarnations has been given. The 5th and 6th Purusha Avatar, a little bit of elaborate. Incarnation of God is given, and Krishna is the fountainhead. All the things has been given. And finally, about the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, because after Krishna left this world, departed from this material world, I mean, wind of his pastimes, the dharma took shelter in Bhagavatam. So next week we'll finish the second chapter, actually. Second chapter, all the things, next session. Because these are very important. We should not go so fast. We can go fast, but we should not go fast because very important. Particularly the second theme is very, very important. So much very details, intricacy is there for the devotee, how the very, very thin lines are there where devotee fails. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Pranam. Thank you very much for wonderful nectarian class, as always. If you can share, then we can go through the topic, we can go through the things, then come prepared,
Sorry?
If you can share us this whole thing. Then
Oh, yes, I understand. Because I did not share because it's partly. So if you want to share in advance also is good actually. Okay,
yes,
I will share it today. Yeah, I will share it today so that you can go through it.
Yeah.
It is better for understanding and clarity. Okay. Sure,
Yes,
sure.
Prabhu.
Sure, sure.
And when you are reading, yes, Prabhu, and when you are reading, very wonderfully, you have so much of material. When you are reading from right side, the cursor is not visible actually, so we can't know actually at times that where you are reading from actually.
Which one?
Anything you are reading from the right side,
Oh.
the cursor is not visible that from where we are reading. So sometimes we are.
Oh, okay. This is so I will point out the cursor. Okay. Okay, sure.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
One more question by Dimtri Prabhu is there. So So what is the question? Oh, yes, Mangalacharan. So it is always there to chant the Mangalacharan before you chant, before you Bhagavatam start. When every day I read Bhagavatam in my house, and we also do the same thing as temple. Same thing was Prabhupada has said that Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva, Narayana Namaskritta Naram Chaiva Narotam Devim Saraswatim Vasam Tato Jayamudira Nasta Prayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, we should offer respect. This translation we should do that. Then Amagyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakrunimiletanjena, all the Mangalacharana. So this is the process we follow in the temple, also in house also. Prabhupada also followed the same thing. So we follow this same thing. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam, please
Yes.
accept my humble obeisance.
Yes.
All Guru Simple. Prabhu, can we recite this Mangalacharan only in temple and only in house?
No, anywhere. Mangalacharana means what? Is glorifying the Supreme, acknowledging and glorifying, just like Sutta Goswami today, acknowledging and glorifying his spiritual master Sukadev Goswami. So we can anytime, this is not a hard and fast rule that only temple and house, only before reciting, anytime. This is anytime we feel like always acknowledge. Oh, okay, Narayana Namaskar. Always acknowledge this. This is a verse actually, this is sloka also. Of course, it's an invocation prayer that before we reciting, before we read Srimad Bhagavatam or giving lecture, we should invoke. That is called invocation means what? Invoke the mercy, invocation prayer, invoke the blessings. That is called invocation prayers. So this invocation prayers are there, but other time also you can chant. This is just glorifying them, acknowledging their their theme. Amagyana Timiranda Sagyana Anjana Salakaya Chakrani Meritansena. Just like Pangum Ninglanga Tegirim, that beautiful verses in 876 Madhya. So this also, this just like always acknowledging.
Sometime before the chanting, I recite this sloka.
Before chanting, most recite to Namam Vishnu Padaya, then there's Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, then Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram. So our whole idea to follow the as it is, Srila Prabhupada. So whatever Prabhupada given, we can follow. That's exactly. We should not concut things, although it is not wrong, but we should follow exactly as Prabhupada has given.
No, Prabhu. Sometimes it's by habitual or mistaken we chant. So
that is not a mistake, but we should follow the as for this Prabhupada has given. That would be more good as it is like this. So there is just like Prabhupada said that there is nothing wrong in chanting the Radha name. But our Acharya has given Hare Krishna. In Hare also Radha name is coming. So there is no need of Radha Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Radhe. So that is also same. But Acharyas are giving Hare Krishna. So we should follow that. It's not about the wrong and right, but it's all about the following the Acharya. That is called Krishna Anusilanam. What Krishna desires. What Krishna desires, we do not know. Our Acharya knows. So our Acharya is presenting. Pure bhakti means should be unalloyed and should be favorably discharged. Krishna Anusilanam. That Anusilanam is given by the spiritual master. So therefore, we should stick to that. It would be better for progressing. Otherwise, slowly we will increase so many things. Then so many things we add and add and subtract. That will be eventually very polluted. So therefore, we should stick whatever Prabhupada said. That's all, and it is enough for that. Enough to go back to Godhead. There's no question of that. 1 to 4 must, yes, Dimti Prabhu, 1 to 4 must, namaste, yeah, the 1 to 4 before reading Srimad Bhagavatam is must recite this 1 to 4. Narayana Namaskritta Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devin Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudira Nasta Prayasya Abhadreshu. Narayana Namaskritta must, because we should offer respectful obeisance to the Supreme Personality of God. This is an invocation prayer must be there. Saraswati God is applauding, Srila Vyasadeva author is there. So this is acknowledgement, and this is our gratitude to them. So thank you very much. So we'll continue our second session too. Next session and complete the chapter 2 of Canto 1, which is very, very important chapter because it has a gist of Bhagavatam is given. A summary, preface of Bhagavatam. What is really essence of the scriptures? What is the ultimate good has been given. So thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
All goes to all the devotees. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.